The Battle of Gaugamela, fought on October 1, 331 BCE, was a decisive conflict between the forces of Alexander the Great of Macedon and Darius III of Persia. It is one of the most renowned military engagements of antiquity and a defining moment in the rise of Alexander, leading to the fall of the Achaemenid Persian Empire and the spread of Hellenistic culture across a vast territory. The battle took place near the village of Gaugamela, which means the camel's house, located in what is now northern Iraq, close to modern-day Mosul. The battlefield itself was a wide, flat plain, chosen deliberately by Darius III to accommodate the size and strength of his army, which relied heavily on cavalry, war chariots, and elephant units. This terrain favored open movements and maneuverability, key components of the Persian strategy. On the other hand, Alexander, always keen to adapt to his surroundings, saw the flat plain as a canvas for his more mobile and flexible phalanxes and cavalry forces. Prior to the battle, Darius ordered the land to be cleared and leveled, removing obstacles that might disrupt the movement of his chariots. While this preparation shows Persian strategic foresight, it also created the conditions in which Alexander's tactical brilliance could unfold. Alexander the Great led a battle-hardened army, though much smaller in size compared to the Persian forces. His army consisted of about 47,000 men, comprising heavily armored infantry, the famous Macedonian phalanx, light infantry, archers, and elite cavalry units like the companion cavalry. The Macedonian military was highly disciplined and experienced, having campaigned through Asia Minor, Syria, and Egypt in prior years. Under Alexander's leadership, the army had grown accustomed to victory and displayed remarkable trust in his command. What set Alexander's army apart was its flexibility and coordination. The Macedonian phalanx, a wall of spears, sarissas, was supported by the cavalry's ability to perform fast, decisive charges. Alexander's leadership style also encouraged personal loyalty from his troops, who admired his presence on the battlefield and his willingness to fight alongside them. Darius III commanded a much larger force, estimated to number between 100,000 and 300,000 men, though ancient sources may exaggerate these figures. His army was drawn from the vast reaches of the Persian Empire and was diverse in composition, including Persian cavalry, foot soldiers, Greek mercenaries, Indian war elephants, and Scythian horse archers. The Persians also fielded several hundred scythed chariots, designed to break enemy formations by mowing down soldiers in their path. Despite the numerical superiority of Darius's forces, the Persian army had significant challenges. It was a multi-ethnic force with different languages, cultures, and levels of training. This created coordination issues, which would prove disastrous in a fast-moving battle. While Darius attempted to command the battle from a secure vantage point, his distance from the front lines meant that he could not adjust his strategy as rapidly as Alexander, who led from the front. The Battle of Gaugamela was the climax of Alexander's campaign to overthrow the Persian Empire. Having already secured victories at the battles of Granicus, 334 BCE, and Issus, 333 BCE, Alexander's strategic aim was to bring the Persian Empire under his control. After capturing key territories in Egypt and Asia Minor, he sought a final confrontation with Darius to solidify his claim as the ruler of the ancient Near East. For Darius III, the battle represented his last significant opportunity to repel Alexander's invasion and restore the authority of the Persian Empire. Following his defeat at Issus, Darius had retreated into the heart of his empire, where he spent considerable time raising a new army, gathering forces from all corners of his realm. Gaugamela was carefully chosen to offer the best chance for a decisive victory, where his superior numbers and the flat terrain could play to his advantage. The battle began with a complex array of tactical moves by both sides. Darius deployed his army in a broad, linear formation, stretching across the plain to prevent being outflanked. His scythed chariots and cavalry were placed on the wings, while the center, where Darius himself was positioned, was heavily guarded by his best troops, including Greek mercenaries. The elephants and cavalry were intended to break Alexander's lines early, paving the way for an overwhelming assault. Alexander, as usual, was proactive in seizing the initiative. His army was arranged with the Macedonian phalanx in the center and the companion cavalry on the right, under his personal command. He placed his light infantry and cavalry on the flanks to protect against Persian attempts to encircle his forces. Alexander's goal was to lure the Persian cavalry away from the center and then launch a direct, concentrated attack on Darius. One of the key challenges for the Macedonian side was the sheer scale of the Persian army. Alexander had to prevent his forces from being outflanked, particularly on the left, where Darius's cavalry forces threatened to overwhelm the Macedonian line. Meanwhile, the Persians faced difficulties coordinating their diverse forces. The scythe chariots, meant to devastate the Macedonian infantry, were largely neutralized by Alexander's well-trained soldiers, who opened gaps in their lines to allow the chariots to pass through harmlessly before counterattacking. The turning point of the battle came when Alexander executed a bold maneuver known as the oblique attack. He feigned a retreat on his right flank, drawing a portion of the Persian cavalry away from their position. Then, in a swift, decisive charge, Alexander led his companion cavalry in a wedge formation straight toward the center of the Persian line, aiming directly at Darius. Caught off guard and fearing capture, Darius panicked and fled the battlefield. With their king in flight, Persian morale collapsed, and many of Darius's troops followed him in retreat. The Macedonians, seizing the opportunity, pursued the fleeing Persians, securing a complete and overwhelming victory. The Battle of Gaugamela resulted in a decisive victory for Alexander the Great. Darius III fled eastward, but his authority was irreparably damaged. While Darius attempted to regroup and continue resistance, he was ultimately betrayed by his own followers and assassinated the following year. With the defeat of the Persian army and the death of Darius, Alexander declared himself the king of Asia and assumed control over the vast Persian Empire. The Persian Empire, which had been the dominant power in the Near East for more than 2 centuries, crumbled following Gaugamela. Alexander's victory allowed him to march unopposed into the heart of Persia, where he captured Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the empire. These conquests marked the collapse of Achaemenid rule and the beginning of the Hellenistic Age, a period in which Greek culture, language, and governance spread across the former Persian territories. The Battle of Gaugamela is historically significant not only for its immediate political and military outcomes but also for its lasting cultural and geopolitical effects. By defeating Darius III, Alexander the Great effectively ended the Persian Empire and set the stage for the spread of Hellenistic civilization. The fusion of Greek and Eastern cultures that followed laid the foundation for centuries of cultural exchange and development, influencing art, science, language, and governance across a vast region stretching from Greece to India. In military history, Gaugamela stands as a testament to Alexander's genius as a commander. His ability to outmaneuver and decisively defeat a numerically superior foe became legendary and remains studied in military academies to this day. The battle also marked the culmination of the ancient clash between the Greek and Persian worlds, echoing the earlier conflicts of the Greco-Persian Wars, but with a different outcome. This time, the Greeks were the conquerors. In conclusion, the Battle of Gaugamela was not just a pivotal military engagement but a transformative event that reshaped the ancient world. It secured Alexander's place in history as one of the greatest military leaders and set the course for the Hellenistic era, a period of remarkable cultural and intellectual flourishing.